Okay. Hope you can hear me. My name is Harald Wipfler, and I will just briefly introduce this webinar. I would like to welcome everyone to this sustainability seminar. This EU for Dual webinar series is designed to provide insights into key sustainability topics. And when we talk about sustainability, we are not only referring to environmental issues, but also to social and governance dimensions. And today's session focuses on a social aspect with the topic, which I think is very relevant for our interconnected academic and professional environment. It's about working in multicultural teams. And what makes this series of webinars also very special is its collaborative spirit, because experts of our 9 EU for Dual partner universities are sharing their experience and knowledge and perspectives across different sustainability-related themes. And today we are very fortunate to welcome Monika Markiewicz from Koszalin University of Technology, and she is going to guide us through this important presentation. Before I hand over to Monika, I would just point out some few practical notes on the session. We will begin with Monika's presentation, and I guess we will also have some time for questions and discussion afterwards. We ask you to keep the microphones muted. Hello,
can you hear me?
Yes?
No.
Yes, we can hear you.
Microphone.
Can you hear us as well, Monika? Monika, can you hear us?
So I don't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can I talk?
1 second. 1 second.
One moment. Okay.
So
because I don't hear you.
Okay, so obviously Monika cannot hear us, but everybody else can hear. And I will soon hand over to her. So we will quickly start. If you have any questions, you can also post them in the chat and we can talk about it. And I also have to point out that we will record this webinar so we can provide it afterwards to other interested people. And one very last thing is, at the end of the session, we will share a very short feedback questionnaire.
Hi,
and
everybody.
I would like to ask it. Okay, it's yours. I'll hand over to Monika.
Co jeszcze raz?
Nie w tą stronę, rozumiesz? Tamtą stronę idzie, tylko do ciebie nie idzie, czyli to jakby, bo co jest przeglądarką, stąd mówię, może być, że trzeba zestartować kompa. Potrwa, musisz zestartować komputer.
So I need 5 minutes more. You hear me? Okay, can I talk because I don't hear you? It's okay? Okay, so hello, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome you on the seminar. My name is Monika Markiewicz, and I represent the Koszalin University of Technology. The topic of my seminar is working in multicultural teams, an example of working with Norwegian. The seminar will present my experience from many years working in Norway as an administrative director in a Norwegian company. Working in multicultural team can be both enriching and challenging, especially when collaborating with people from different cultural backgrounds. In my talk, I will share an example of collaboration with Norway colleagues, highlights cultural nuance and best practices that foster effective cooperation. I want to start with my inspiring seminar of working in multicultural teams in Norway, here with the Polish consul and mayor of Stavanger. So it was a really wonderful experience. And the local press, Stavanger Aftenbladet, was interested in experiences of working in multicultural team and integration in Norway. Agenda of my seminar is geographical location, Stavanger, the oil capital, respect for work-life balance, dialect, language differences, inclusivity at work, being good, Jenteloven, the law of Jente, welfare state and job security, Norway, one of the best places to live in the world, working independently and voluntary and dugnad at work, and the summer. So at the beginning, I will just give you some basic facts about Norway. So Norway is a country located in the northern part of Europe. It is part of Scandinavia, which borders to Sweden to the east and Finland and Russia to the northeast. Norway is a long, narrow country, extending from south to north. There are mountains roughly in the center part of the country. In the east, most of the population lives, actually in the southers, around the capital Oslo. On the other side of Norway is the northern region where few people live. Norwegians often say that Norway is like a country with a southerner part and northerner part. So northerners and southerners. And I live in Stavanger, the southerners, the oil capital. Since oil was discovered in 1969, Norway and the country slowly shadowed the little brother complex towards Sweden. The standard of living has improved. The most expensive car can be seen on the street, and virtually everyone owns a boat, large or small, and vacation in Thailand are standard fare. But Norway is a long country, and the people have a different style of life and culture there. This is something I learned more about by interacting with Norwegians. For example, I think Stavanger is a good place because you can find people from other countries there, since that's where they tend to flock to in order to find work. They dress more fashionable, they drive expensive car, which is very non-Norwegian. So Stavanger is not typical for the rest of Norway. What would be luxury for most people is the norm for Norwegian taste. Therefore, many Norwegian families own a small cottage called hytta, a cabin, usually near a fjord or forest, far away from civilization. A hytta is typically without electricity and running water, but not always. You can find very exclusive hytta always. So relaxing in nature, away from civilization, is a true luxury from many Norwegians. So the Norwegian saying "ut på tur, aldri sur" translates on a hike, never angry. And it is a popular slogan in Norway. This well-known expression reflects the strong bond Norwegians have with the landscape and their love of the outdoors. At work, respect for work-life balance is also important to Norwegians. They typically value a healthy balance, be mindful of working hours, and typical Norwegian office workers, they run from 8 to 16, Monday through Friday. Be flexibility when possible is also very important. Example, the National Opera hire a foreigner as artistic director. Imagine his surprise when, before the premiere, no one showed up for a reserve on Friday evening. Everyone had gone to their summer cottage outside the city to find work-life balance. There are about 5.4 million people in Norway, but it's a long stretch out country, and the mountains divide in a way that, in some sense, he shaped the country and even the culture. There are cultural differences in Norway as well. The people of Stavanger, for example, are sarcastic and ironic in the best possible way, and others don't always understand this. It's not just irony, there are also dialect differences. Today, dialects demonstrate a commitment to tradition. Norwegians are proud of their dialects and use them not only in privately, but also in official context, radio, television, and the press. Regional influence are sounds of proud for citizens, but because of the different dialects, you might encounter problems. My friend Terje Roan Hansen, who came to Bergen from northern Norway as a young man, was so misunderstood that he couldn't order a taxi in Bergen. Yet in the north, people are known for being much friendlier, more open, more direct, and full of jokes. Maybe that's why Terje was one of my first Norwegian friends. Norse culture also reflects the working life. The social norms are similar in everyday professional setting, though this is experienced on a personal level. The official name of the country is the Kingdom of Norway. So Norway has a king, Harald V, who is very popular. He sometimes uses public transport, and amazing, he something has to pay for his ticket. He's considered a friend to the Norwegian population. So photos show him riding the bus with without distance. But Norwegians tend to keep their distance in everyday life. On buses, passengers usually sit in rows by the windows, one behind the other, which the set next to them often empty. In the workplace, however, it is important to support inclusivity and integrated all team member. Sharing a coffee together at work helps a lot. As does going out for a beer after work, or receiving an invitation from the boss to the home team building party. So dialect, personal relationships are common. Direct and personal relationships are common not only in school, but also in workplace, which can be seen as a form of preparation for professional life. In Norwegian companies, there is less of a rigid hierarchy. Employees address their bosses by name, and there is a strong emphasis on dialogue and co-decision making. This consensus is important at work, ensuring that everyone feels included in the final decision, much like democratic process. Democracy, Norwegians have a government, a political correctness is a driving force in social thinking. Norway has excellent nature, seafood, spectacular landscape, the Viking, and strength in winter sport. So I complete the postgraduate program, project manager in praxis for Norwegian executive with a member of the Olympic Committee. And I remember her saying that Norwegians are born with ski. Anyway, when you look at statistics about the Olympic, Winter Olympic, you will see that Norway is #1 in terms of medals. They are proud of that competition and the desire to succeed, especially with neighbors, so Denmark and Sweden, on whom Norway was long been political and economically dependent, are very important in Norwegian life. However, everything must be done with the bounds of the law of Jente, so as not to be accused of arrogant. What is the law of Jente? So, Jenteloven. The law of Jente is a set of social norms in Norway, what helps explain why Norwegian acts why they do. These are the rules of Janteloven. You are not to think you are anything special. You are not to imagine yourself better than we are. You are not to think you know more than we do. You are not to think you are more important than we are. You are not to think you are good in anything. You are not to think anyone cares about you. Norwegians are very self-affecting. They are not animated. They are very subdued. You can boast about yourself. You have to bring yourself down. You are supposed to say, oh, I know a little about that, which actually means you know enormous amount about the subject. It's the opposite of what you might find in other countries. For people with big egos, it is a lot of work to be a part of Norwegian society. Example, although Norwegians generally dislike advertising, they like Oslo advertising with perversely doesn't encourage travel. The advertising use phrases like, honestly, I wouldn't come here. This is a message from an Oslo resident, Halvand, played by Bendik Alnun, who lists everything he dislikes about his city. However, judging by the thousands of comments from viewers in Norway and around the world, it's clear that he failed to deter potential tourists. So you have to downplay yourself to success. It's actually a very interesting concept to understand because it's a big part of a lot Norwegian way to thinking. An example also from my workplace when I tried to place outdoor advertising. So unfortunately, the concept didn't catch on because they don't like new things and advertising as well. And it is important to understand that Norwegians have excellent job security, strong protection under solid labor laws, and high union memberships. As a result of voice of employees in the workplace is strong and essential. As a leader of manager working with Norwegians, you should understand that it's a part of their mentality, rooted in history and influencing contemporary attitudes. The Norwegian welfare state has historically shaped this mentality and its compact on behavior. Norway has always been regarded as a country where egalitarian values have achieved greater success than elsewhere, with a relative small income difference after taxes. The stars provide generous green to students and families with children, and children with special needs are integrated in school. Possible explanation for this Norwegian preference for egalitarian values. Firstly, Norway never experienced real feudalism, and as in much of Europe, due to the absence of an aristocratic upper class. The Nobel laureate Bjørnson, Norway national poet, wrote in his 1890 poem, Norway, Norway, cottages and houses and no castle. Norge, Norge, hytter og hus og ingen borge. To express his view of Norway's identity and a national idea of a democratic society without a powerful aristocracy. Secondly, Hans Nielsen Hage, the Hagerian movement, stressed values of strong moral work and education. Historian Borge Fure notes that Hage has a strong impact by stressing equal status and the opportunity to be masters of one's own life. These values align well with the ideas of the American and French Revolution: liberty, equality, and fraternity. Søren Petersen Jarbeck organized farmers all over Norway, and Markus Trane organized workers in 414 associations across Norway, fighting for equality, religions, political and economics, and universal suffrage. After 1945, World War II, the expression of the welfare state, which we've also promoted a higher quality of life. The state was active in introducing measures aimed at equalizing access to material goods and benefits. An elaborate and generous social security system was introduced after 1945. These were among the most important reforms made available to all. 1946 child benefits, 1956 sickness benefits, 1957 old age pension. Husbanken, the Norwegian state housing bank, provide a subsidized loan to build flats and houses. So Lånekassen, the Norwegian state education loan fund, offered scholarship and low interest loans that did not have to be repaid until 1 year after completing studies. The aim of the welfare state has been to fight what were considered the 5 means evils in society: poverty, illness, unemployment, ignorance, bad housing condition. So in other words, every member of Norwegian society should have equal access to work, education, healthcare, and place to live. Norway has one of the highest public employees rate. Distinguishing features of the welfare state in Norway and Scandinavia: a large public sector, a system of full employment, and a very high labor market participation rate for women. So Norway has the highest rate. A relative strong element of vertical distribution, and retirement age is high, 67. According on the Human Development Index, Norway is one of the best places to live in the world. They have a high standard of living and high taxes. Christianity is the most prominent religion, but is not very important to most people apart from tradition. They still go to church during Christmas, wedding, and baptism, and everything remains traditional. But now most Norwegians are more open-minded. For example, there are about 3% Muslims there. Norwegians are among the most independent people in the world. So when you ask Norwegian what is most important for children to learn at school, independence is what they will say, and Norway is on the top of the scale there. Working independently is very important for Norwegian, and independence is like to freedom. Freedom is easy to see and understand, but it's comes with responsibility. In Norway, there is a saying, frihet under ansvar, which means that with freedom comes responsibility. The expectation is that you actively take responsibility for your work, usually without being told. So you will not be told what your responsibilities are. You need to determine them yourself. Actively take responsibility and deliver what is expected. Only then, when you do this, will you gain freedom. And at work, they do voluntary work called dugnad in English, and a ritual of working socialization and an important tradition. Dugnad can also be organized at work by sports group or at school. At work, you might assemble new furniture, reorganize the workplace, or change the decoration. For your kids, the school may ask you to bake cakes to sell or to run a toilet paper sale where your kids need to overcome their shining and take the uncomfortable step of visiting neighbor and family to sell a product. This process teaches a lot about stepping outside one's comfort zone and gives kids hands-on experience in sailing, which in turn in the basic of running a business. Sport group for kids may ask parents to stand at a kiosk, or kids to knock on doors to collect empty bottles. Sports groups may also organize a lottery where kids and parents sell tickets, family and neighbor. In 2004, Dugnad was chosen as the word of the year in Norway in a competition for typically Norwegian word. Such a ranking, a tool for cultural integration, showed a strong sense of patriotism among Norwegians, as well as their well-integrated culture. The dimension of social solidarity and patriotism, in which national identity underlies communal effort, constitute pillars that stabilize Norwegian society. And Norway is a social welfare state where people work together and pay high taxes, which they reorganize a benefiting society, including the workplace. Work feels meaningful and communal in other words, if I do my job well, my colleague may be affected. It's not just an individual task, it's a community effort. Norwegians tend to be team organized, which is important to understand. So Norwegian employees do not automatically respect leader because of status, title of authority. They respect leaders who are good role models, who listen to their employees, and who involve them in the decision-making process. The collaborating approach is what earns their respect. And Norwegian society can be captured by the word of former Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. It is typically Norwegian to be good. This saying has become a staple of the Norwegian mythos and a national trait. Being good, however, does not mean you can impose anything on Norwegians. Quite the opposite. Pushing an unrealistic worldview into Norwegians is almost zero. And an illustration of this is the story of a particular advertisement designed to encourage tourists to visit Sommerøy, an island of northern Norway near Tromsø, to highlight the midnight sun. The idea was brilliant. The commercial feature island residents and several children portraying Norwegians creating a free time zone of the summer and area without watches or clocks. People could swim at 4 a.m., for example. So in Sommerøya, people hanging unwanted watches on a bridge. The campaign was a success, valued at over $11 million. And to see in CNN, The Guardian, The New York Times, The Independent, Time, El País, La Repubblica, Vanity Fair, and The Spiegel. Yet, many residents of northern Norway criticize it as a fabrication and using children to project. It was false image of the island where the time is important there. In the end, so for Norwegian, truth is more important than financial gain. This makes them even more worthy and respectfully and trust. And so Norwegians, I can see, are wonderful people, and I have learned a lot from them. They tend to be concise in meeting. They value facts and concrete example, and conversation have a defining purpose. In Norway, trust is built over time through professionalism and a clear understanding of market rules. Best practice for working with Norwegians. Summary. Respect work-life balance. Norwegians typically value of healthy work-life balance. Be mindful of working hours and encourage flexibility when possible. Foster inclusivity. Actively involve quiet team members in discussion to ensure diverse perspective and heard. Occupation safety. Norway has well-developed regulation and occupation safety and the protection of workers' rights. Employees can count on job stability and good working conditions. Cultural differences. Be aware of egalitarian values at work. So hierarchy in the workplace is usually flat, which promotes open communication and the exchanging of ideas. Allow for independence. Norwegians often value independence. So let the members take responsibility for their task, but be available for support when needed. Respect volunteering. Frivillig Arbeit and Dugnad. So be aware that volunteering is valued and common among Norwegians at work and outside of work. So Norway, like every other country is in the world, has its own rules. So you have to learn them, follow them, and play fair. And then everything will be all right. So I thank you for your attention. Tack för uppmärksamhet.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very refreshing to take a short break from our daily academic routines and to reflect on multicultural collaboration. And this will also help us to understand and navigate through the complexities of our work, maybe also within EU4Dual. Now we have the challenge that Monica obviously is not able to hear us. So I guess we will try to post questions in the chat. So if you do have some questions, please feel free either to type it in. Otherwise, I could start with a first question. Second. So just post it. Okay, now she's leaving her place. Fortunately. Monica. Try it once more. So I'm afraid this is not working. I'm not sure whether she's going to read the chat either. Ah, no, no, she doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, I'm afraid that Monica is not reading the chat either, so it might be a little bit complicated to have a discussion now. Are there any comments from your side? Is from the audience? Mia, may I ask you something? You're from Finland. Is there a similar?
So
no, sorry.
I read you can hear me, yes. So I can see at start to work in a multicultural team, especially in Norway, but not always. I work also with a lot of years with the people from Germany as well. So for me, it's the be yourself, and it's maybe the best thing I will see at the beginning and also at the end.
Okay, thank you. Mia, what I wanted to ask you, you probably can understand the Norwegian culture a little bit better than we do. What I am always wondering, and you're also working in EU for Dual, is it sometimes challenging for somebody from the north to work with people from the south because we are maybe louder, not more active, is not a direct word, but a little bit different probably. Do you experience in project work as well?
Oh, thank you, Harald. That's a very, very good question. And we can also do it the other way around,
Of
like
course,
how
yes,
you
of course, yeah.
experience working with us coming from Nordic countries. But yes, of course, there are some differences, but the more you work with colleagues from all around Europe or all around the world, you learn that there are differences, but in the end, I think it's, well, of course, being yourself, like Monica said, but kind of having the open conversation all the time and kind of recognizing, okay, we have our differences, but we are working together to achieve the same goal. So that helps. And also what I would say is that it's really important to create this kind of atmosphere where nobody is afraid to ask silly questions. Like what I think you can agree that in EU for Dual, we have had lots and lots of discussions about different terminologies and this kind of simply vocabulary, like what do you mean when you are talking about this? So we might think that we are talking about the same thing, but then on the other hand, you might understand my way of saying something in a different way. So kind of you need to ask the silly questions, like, what do you mean with this? Like, I mean this with this word, but do you mean the same thing with this word? And you might get surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, and that comes partly from the cultural background also, like in the Nordic countries, we might...
Hi, Mia, from Finland.
Hello.
Yes, you mean the people from the south, you mean because you are from Finland. So the challenging for me is the culture differences. Because the way we are thinking about many things, the children in, for example, in Norway are different in school and in kindergarten as the children in Poland. So, but when you travel a lot, so you can find another people and you can learn more things that your mind open. So it's very positive in my way.
Yeah, and having the discussions and talking and trying to understand and respect each other's cultures.
Thank you very much, Mia. I think this was a very important contribution. Then, for instance, in the case of EU for Dual, it's not just because of the complex topics which have to be negotiated. It's probably even there are some goals which are not that clear yet. We cannot explicitly describe the future situation. And this is combined with cultural aspects. This is combined, even if you all speak English, we might use different words or translations, and this it doubles up and makes it more complicated. And I think, as you mentioned, to talk a lot, to ask questions, to create this so-called psychological safety is definitely very important and valuable. But as far as I observed the EU for Dual project and the team, you're all doing a very good and a great job.
If you mind, yes, now I understand it's the weather. You asked the weather.
No.
Yes, a little bit, because it's not rainy. The weather is not so rainy in South Europe. And yes, but you must buy clothes that it's important, and so everything will be okay. The weather, yeah, excuse me.
Okay, so this is also a good example of multicultural work when we also have technical issues and Monica does not hear what we are talking about. I try to give some notes in the chat, but I'm not sure whether she got it. Okay, are there any further questions? Otherwise, I really would like to thank you for attending this seminar. Before we finish, just have to make sure. I would like to ask you, I will post a link in the chat. There are, sorry. So it's here. There are 3 very short questions. Maybe you could give us a feedback so we know how to organize future webinars. Also, we will share the material. If you would like to have the presentation, please send us an email. I will post Larry's email address, but you can also write to me and we will make sure that you get the presentation. And just post her email address. And of course, if you do have any suggestions for future topics, you are very welcome to share your ideas with us so we can prepare it. And finally, I would like to give an outlook. We have one further seminar in this year. It's going to take place, you should see it. It's going to take place on December the 12th. And the next seminar is going to discuss how we can adapt teaching practices to current challenges. I think this is also a very important topic for all of us who work in the higher education area. And I'm really looking forward to this seminar, which is going to take place on December 11th at 10 o'clock again, as we had it today. Okay, so thank you very much for attending the seminar. Thank you, Monica. And I wish you all the best and have good multicultural experiences. Goodbye.